not a leader, not a follower of anyone, not a leader of anyone. I am a member of an organization that dedicated itself to the area of the black procession that is so needed today. I said the black procession. I am a black man, and my first allegiance is to my race. Am I not right? Chinese first allegiance is to himself and the Chinese race. The Caucasian to the Caucasian race. It's consistent. Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. We're consistent with the cosmic procession. The black man was placed in Africa, the Eskimos in Alaska, the Europeans in Europe, and we all had our duty to this planet, to the existence of this planet. But as for ourselves, I cannot talk for the Caucasian or the Chinese or the Eskimo. I could only talk about my race because that's the only thing I know. I know no other entity or race or people or philosophy. I didn't go to school because it wasn't necessary. I came from a people that didn't invent school because school was unnecessary. Today with the schools, we are sick. Yesterday without the school, we were healthy. The first part of this journey that we will take, this tedious journey, is about explaining how we cure AIDS. It's not how Sebi cure AIDS. Am I your brother? Yes. So if Sebi or the Usha Research Institute cure AIDS, who cure AIDS? The black race or Sebi? It is the black race. When the Chinaman does something in China, there isn't one single Chinese that is singled out to say, he is the man that did it. It's the Chinese people. When the Arab does certain things, the Arabs. When the Caucasian, the Caucasian. But with me, it is Sebi. It divorced me from you. I am a sum total of the black race. Am I not? Am I not? Yes. I am you standing here. So what is wrong? I am you. The part of you that you didn't know. Yes, you do. I am not here with something that you are unaware of or didn't know. I am here with something that you forgot. So as a black man, we will introduce to the world a black perspective to pathology and nutrition. We have had the Ayurvedic, which is Indian. It failed. We have had the allopathic, which is European. It failed. We have the microbiotic, where it recommends us to eat rice. Rice is starch, isn't it? Yeah. Starch is carbonic acid. It failed. So let us now introduce one that will complement ours, the black man. The position of the black man was always one of healing. When the black man was found in Africa, did he have prostitution? No. Did he have alcohol? No. Did he have religions? Yes. No, he did not. Nature did not start with religion. Nature only creates those things that are necessary, that supports life. Religion does not support life. Life supports life. Did we wear clothes? No, we didn't wear any clothes. It was a statement that we were making. But the statement was misunderstood by the foreigners. The visitors said we were naked. And we believed it. They said we were naked. Could you imagine a man standing here without no clothes? Since creation? How old is creation, ladies and gentlemen? Nobody knows. But since creation, we lived in the forests of Africa without no clothes. And one day some strangers came and said, you are naked. become like embarrassed because our parents lived in Africa without no clothes. Yes, they had no clothes. See, body without no clothes receives oxygen. It keeps you calm, it keeps you healthy. With polyester, it deprives you of oxygen. Haven't you heard the policeman in Los Angeles that was jogging with the polyester and fell dead? The deprivation of oxygen. We wore no clothes. No, we didn't. But there was no prostitution. You see? And when our parents ate, they ate from the tree. When they bathed their body, it was in a river without chlorine or 200 chemicals. And they were savages?
No.
A man that ate the freshest food in the world and bathed in the cleanest river was a savage. Well, let us take a journey, because I am the son of the savage. I am her child. I am their child. I am my mother's son. Fortunately for me, she is, has been, and will always be the only entity that I would ever listen to. No one else, nobody else. No philosophy or no one else, my mother. I came out of her. She deserved every credit that I would ever muster up. After all, I could never pay my mother because I'm her child. So we're going to journey back and steer into our mothers now. It is said through the history of medicine that medicine began in Egypt. It sure did. Well, if medicine began in Egypt, it said that there was a need for medicine in Egypt. And if there was a need for medicine in Egypt, there was a violation. The people in the parts of Africa need no medicine. They had no doctors. Why? There was no violation.
May I have your attention? May I have your attention?
The only reason that we become sick...
Contact security. Officer Moses, contact security. Thank you.
The only reason that we become sick is when there is a violation. But in the forests of Africa, you could not violate because there were no rice, there were no beans, there was no carrots, there were no hogs, there were no cows, there was no wheat in Africa. The Africans did not eat those foods because those foods that I just mentioned that are supposed to be food substances, they are laboratory products. And the black man did not alter nature or add it in any way, remove or add. So you see, what did we eat? What did the African eat in the forests of Africa that is so necessary to know today? Because our body is in need of it. We are sick. But the anthropologists that came to us, the archaeologists, the paleontologists, the historians, they didn't talk about what our parents ate. What did they talk about? I don't know. Whatever they talked about was of no consequence because now we are sicker than we ever been. But we read all those books. Well, I read no book. So we're going to journey now on a natural perspective, a natural canoe. Since medicine did not begin in the jungles of Africa, and it began in Egypt, we know that there were violations. Hippocrates came years later and brought the science and established the science of the medical science today. Hippocrates in 365 BC. He used herbs too. The question should be asked now, why isn't the physician using herbs today if Hippocrates was the father of medicine? So we find that instead of us understanding, we criticize, like the Usha Institute has been criticized. Well, our parents does not allow us to criticize them. It is time to look at them and worship them, follow them. I stand in front of you today about to give you a lecture on how to cure AIDS and why AIDS exists. Well, that's good and fine. But when I leave from here, what next? You know, like you take a book and you read it, and you put it back on the shelf, it has no more use. You read the book, it cost you $50. Now what you going to do? You learn something? What did we learn? What are we going to learn this evening? Because this evening is about the family, not about how to cure AIDS. You know why? It takes a second. Like I said to you, I came to you with something that you already know, but you forgot. It's about the family that is so divided. The disease, we talk of AIDS. AIDS is not the disease. It's that rice, and that sugar, that salt, that meat, that cow meat, that carrot. The carrot that you guys jump on. I gave a lecture at the WNIB about carrots, and everybody said that I was crazy. But it is fine. It is good. Because the herbs have helped me to understand, to be somewhat patient. The herb teaches that. You see, the herb shows me that when people goes to sleep, some wakes up a little bit earlier than the others. That's natural. If 10 people go to sleep, not all close their eyes at the same time. And when they wake up, some wake up earlier than others. But the mistake that is being made with us today is that those of us that are yawning, we want to go and wake the other one that wants to wake up at 7 because we're up at 5. You see? You leave him sleep because sleep is necessary. It is through sleep that we regenerate energy. But we curse sleep. This is what we say about each other. Oh, you are dead. You're asleep. He's not dead. Yes, he's asleep. But why are you angry because he's asleep? Isn't sleep necessary? Are you awake? Yeah. Well, why don't you do the things that people that are awake does? Do that. Because when he wake up and you're talking trash, you're going to say, well, look, man, let me go back to sleep because you've been awake for years and haven't done anything. I am not awakened yet. I'm still yawning. Because I was fortunate to find a perspective that came from our mother, through my mother, and through the help of many, many, many other people, much wiser than me because I'm not wise. Because you heard me say I didn't go to school. And to be wise, you have to go to school. Yes, you do. Because if it wasn't that way, then there would not be any schools, right? But I'm not wise. I just happen to get information in my head that is equitable and complementary. I learned that no one is wrong, and that there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no up, there's no down, there's no superior, no inferior. That doesn't exist. So now we're going to go back to AIDS, right? Because that's why you came. You came because of AIDS. Well, what's the difference with AIDS and pneumonia? What's the difference with AIDS and TB? There is no difference. I should know that. Remember, I was arrested and charged with practicing medicine without a license. You stood by and watched them arrest me. Because you were a little bit more asleep, you didn't get up and say, well, hold it, he's defending our mother. Let us go see how we could help this institute. But no, the institute, I especially was arrested and charged with practicing medicine without a license because I said what? I cure AIDS, blindness, diabetes, lupus, herpes, sickle cell. It sounds fantastic. It sounds gross. It sounds like it is impossible. Sure, it is impossible because we forgot our mother and we have been entertaining the Western medicine. Western medicine said that there's no cure for any disease. Didn't we believe it? They also told us that sickle cell is the result of God giving us sickle cell to fight malaria. You mean to tell me that God loves us that much? You mean to tell me that God gave us sickle cell to fight malaria? Gave us a disease to fight another one? How does that sound to you? It is crazy. Sure, I know you guys are wiser than me. Of course you are. Because you are more than I am. I'm only one. And everything I got it from you because I didn't go to school. I grew up in Louisiana with brothers in the pool hall. Niggers, as they call us then. But I'm one. But those niggers, you will hear what they helped me to put together. The vocabulary, the consistency, the organization I got from those niggers in those pool halls. So we begin now. They told us that disease is the result of germ, virus, or bacteria. Am I right? Who said that? The Caucasian again. But how do you know that's true? Have we done any research independent to that of the European? He done his research. Fine. The Japanese did his. Good. But what about my mama? My mama needs representation too, isn't it? I want to hear what my mama have to say. When my mama said that there's no such thing as a germ, a virus, or a bacteria. What did you say, Dr. Sebi? This is in court. This is the Supreme Court of the United States. The judge said, what did you say? I said, there is no such thing as a germ, a virus, or a bacteria. Then what is it? I said, man, it is a microbe that is generated in the body when erosion begins. So you see, explain that. I said, very simple. If I take a very healthy human being and lay them on the table and not move them for a month, when I raise them, what are they going to have on their back? A bed sore. And inside that bed sore would be some little worms, isn't it? Sure. But where did the worms come from and where were they birthed? In the man himself. Ah, but why the bed sore? You didn't move that person. That part of him was lacking of oxygen. You never see bed sore on the top of the person. You see them on the bottom. The deprivation of oxygen causes all disease. The big mystery. You see how quick you learn that? Every disease that is manifested is caused by the deprivation of oxygen. You have it with a very healthy man. Lay him down and not move him. You will get a bed sore. I said, Your Honor, if I take a potato, place it inside of an oxygen-free vesicle, a vessel, 14 days later, you begin to see it break down. And then you see little worms coming out of the potato. Where did the worms come from? From across the street and invaded your potato? Or from inside the potato? From inside the potato. So when they talk about this virus, you think that it was something that you inhale in the air. No, because we were misled. The information that we all have had is sitting in our heads came from who? Okay. Who told us that carrots were good? Was it our mother? No. And I said that carrots is no good. Why you get angry with me? You should be happy. But WNIB was not too happy. You see? They were angry. And all the health enthusiasts and the health promoters was offering us carrot juice for vitamin A. But there is nowhere in your body you have vitamin A to use that carrot. So therefore, assimilation is impossible. We go back again to the virus. Then they said, well, we threw out virus, right? Now we go to germ. They said that disease is the result of what? Germ, virus, or bacteria. But we just threw out virus because the man had a bed sore. And he got it because of what? Not moving him. His body was being deprived of oxygen. Now we go internal. When those cells cease to receive oxygen, they break down. And depending where the erosion is taking place, what disease you will have. If the erosion is in the nostril, it is what? Sinusitis. If it's in the bronchial tubes, it's bronchitis. If it's on the lung, it's pneumonia. How about the germ and the bacteria? Remember what we said, that nature only creates those things that complement itself in support of life. How does a germ or a bacteria support life? They never existed. Everything in nature complements. Everything complements. A bacteria, a germ, or a virus simply does not exist. It is a manifestation that is caused by erosion. But the erosion is caused by mucus, and the mucus came from the food that you eat, the stuff that they told us to eat. After all, it's been 400 years since I had food. It's been 400 years since we ate anything. Because remember, when they took us from Africa, did they bring our food with us? No. They gave us starch. They gave us meat. And if you didn't eat it, they bust your teeth out. They break your teeth out. Now here we are, children of those sick people. And then we spiritual. I mean, what that word means. Spiritual. In a state of confusion, in a state of ill health. If you're going to tell me, have the nerve to tell me you're spiritual. Behave yourself. Behave yourself. To be cosmically in tune is to only indulge in those things that complement you and us. Complement your body. Once you're in that state, you accomplish anything, because I want to be on the journey for how long? 26 years, and I'm curing AIDS. So imagine if we had stayed on the journey 400 years. Put that into a meaningful perspective. If I, who've been on the journey only 26 years, is able to cure AIDS, what would we do if we had stayed on the journey 400 years? And all I did was to start eating the garbage. Sometimes. I'm you. I'm addicted with salt. I'm addicted with sugar that came from Europe. Did not come out of Africa. Cane did not come out of Africa. Because cane is also a hybrid plant. It was made. It's a laboratory product. You see? African did not eat in the laboratory products. So it's so big mystery. So we go back to AIDS again. So what is AIDS? Mucus in the lungs. That's all it is. So don't get frightened. I should know. 2 million have been cured by us. But they negate us. The white man negate us. But that's right. He's supposed to, because I'm not white. But you don't know, and I'm negated by you too. Between a rock and a hard place. No, it's not cute. It is nice. AIDS is the result of your immune system being compromised. And the only thing that causes the body to go into erosion is acid. Not alkalinity, acidity. And for the body to be acid, one has to ingest foods that brings about that erosion, acid foods. That's all. It breaks down the immunological system, which is what? The lymphatic system, the blood, and the skin. That's all. So what do? There's mucus in the lungs. There's mucus in the whole system. So what a sensible person would do? No, am I a scientist? I'm a plumber. You see, I clean the shit house. Because that's all I do. Clean the shit house. Clean the colon. Clean the cells. Clean the body. And there the body receives oxygen and reproduces itself, all the cell that has been eroded. You cut your nails, they grow back. Am I right? You cut your hair, they grow back. But the difference with the hair and the nails, they are out in oxygen all day long. But the cells internally has to receive that oxygen. You see, so now what do? We de-obstruct those arteries. You know, all that milk that you've been drinking all these years? And the cheese that Reagan feed our grandmothers? You know, cheese. Do you know what you are telling a race of people when you feed their ancestors cheese? He has no respect for us. He has no respect for us when he feed our parents cheese. He's saying that we are too dumb to realize that he's poisoning our mothers and our grandmothers. That's what he's saying, that you're too dumb to realize that. And she is likewise helpless to eat it. No respect. No respect. And then you tell me I'm arrogant. When I'm seeing the state of the race, I'm arrogant. I mean, I wish I was arrogant. I can't be arrogant with you. You and me and I'm you. If I'm arrogant to you, then I'm arrogant to myself. I don't love you. No, I don't love you. I am you, whether I love you or not. So we talk about disease. It's fed to us every day. Our immune system is being compromised right now. Because I'm inside this building, I can't breathe air that my parents was breathing in Africa on the plane, standing up on a hill and the breeze blowing by. I can't do that now. And I have to wear these clothes all over me and wrapped up, because the police that called my parents savages would then take me to jail. I can't do do what my foreparents did. I can't live healthy anymore because I have to wear clothes. Because the religion says that I am a savage. Every religion said I was a savage. Well, I prefer the non-religious position because then I could embrace everybody and go back to my parents. My gene has to be protected by the same code that coded it since creation. You mean to tell me that I'm a black man and live Chinese? Isn't that a slight violation? I am a black man and I'm gonna marry a white woman. That's another violation. Because her ovum and my sperm are not of the same electrical composition. So there is now. There is now an imbalance that will manifest later of a child that will be born and cannot relate to black or to white. You see? Don't do that. Don't do that. Ooh, that's a violation. You know, it's like taking a horse and a mule and a horse and a jackass and making a mule. A mule cannot reproduce itself. It's a hybrid product. So now I'm going to take my black sperm and unite that with a white ovum. No. A white ovum needs a white sperm. Incompatible. So when I meet a white man, hey, I respect him. I respect a Chinese. I respect an Eskimo. But now, am I not deserving of respect on the same equal basis? Am I supposed to hate the Chinese, the white, or the Arab? If I hate anyone, then who is uncosmic? I would be. No, but don't ask me to live white or Chinese because now you're violating me. And in that violation, I shorten my life. So in AIDS, what we do? AIDS? What about sickle cell? What's the difference with AIDS and sickle cell? You die from both. So with AIDS, like any other disease, we give you the same compound. To cleanse yourselves, to rebuild yourselves, to give you energy. Not to rebuild yourselves, to give you energy. That your body will regenerate and cure and heal itself. It does heal itself. But you have to create the environment that would allow the body to heal itself. That's all. So we make the compounds already. The government of Uganda has asked me to come to Uganda. I feel very good that the son of Uganda, myself, a child was taken away 400 years ago by force, is going back home to heal our people. Maybe if Africa is destroyed, what do we have left? Where do we go? Because this is ours. They let us know every day, and it's true, this is ours. We go around here, right? This is ours, and if you fight for this, well, that's a crime, because that's like knowing that someone stole this glass. You know I stole the glass, but you come and say, hey, Sebi, I know you stole the glass, but you will share the glass with me. What does it make you? You see? But we talk about religion, right? And we talk about righteousness. We talk about God. We just go back to God now. Who created the herbs? The Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nations. Am I right? Yes. Am I making this up? No. So what happened with the preacher when he gets sick? What is he saying about God? Don't give a damn about God, he's saying. I know for a fact he's saying that. You know why? I had a brother just died last year. Many of you in this audience knew my brother. My brother was Pastor Gale in Honduras. I said, but Pastor Gale, the book of Genesis, the book of Ezekiel, the book of Revelation said that the herbs are for the healing of the nation and the fruits are for food. And why eat this flesh, this pork? He said, you know, you were always strange. See, I know that. Very few of my friends accept me in their group because I was always strange. But in my strange world, there is consistency and there is logic. And there is love. Most of all, I love to give. It's difficult for me to receive from you. The Usha family, that makes up a group of people now that has been healed or been healed. We have a family. We have a family. A family that understands. And they try to give me many things. I can't receive those things sometimes because it's very difficult. But in giving, I like to give. So I said to him, I would like to understand what zone in your head exists that you would negate God for man's position. As you said, I said the medicine that you're taking was made in a laboratory with some inorganic substance and chemicals that does not assimilate. And I explained that very carefully. It's not very difficult to understand, don't worry. My brother was taking substance that was made in a laboratory. When something is made in a laboratory, is it complete? No. It cannot be complete. It was made in a laboratory. It does not have oxygen. Any product that is made in a laboratory does not have oxygen, hydrogen, no, carbon. It's impossible. That substance could only be made by life itself. And if it does not contain the chemistry of life, they call it carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, it would not become one with you to help you. But you chose that over God, herbs. Well, you're going to die. He said, well, if I die, he said, I'm going to leave you 10 children to take care of. I said, you know, I'm going to take care of them if I have to, and I will. He said, well, that's cool. And he died. And he died in my mother's arms. And my mother said, well, this is the way he was, died. And he died. So that's why I'm afraid of preachers. They talk about God, but they do something else. And I'm not saying that. Go in the church. Go in any church in America. And you will find out our parents have big ankles.
That's right.
And the preacher himself had diabetes and gout. In fact, I don't know why gout bothered them for some reason. Most preachers suffer with gout. And diabetes. I think it's too much chicken that he's eating. And you know that God did not make that chicken. So don't get frightened. Don't get frightened. Because there's too much to this lecture that needs to be brought out that we would not have enough time, but I hope that we would share another moment together that we could hash these things out. I'm not lecturing to you. I bring a message that came from you. I'm not lecturing to you. I'm bringing a message that came from you that you forgot. But some way, you know, nature always preserves that one little thing to manifest again, to continue that procession, that chronology. I am black. I have, nature will preserve that blackness, whether Sebi wanted or not, because Sebi didn't want to be a healer. Sebi was too nice and quietly smoking his cocaine and snorting it. You know, yes, he was in Los Angeles. And I didn't heal him what? Who? I mean, I want to be John Coltrane. I bought a flute and I bought a soprano. Couldn't blow a note, but I want to be John Coltrane. I want to be Coltrane. I love Coltrane. And I tried like my endeavor best, and I even had the opportunity to meet Coltrane many, many times. What? I didn't become a musician, but I fought like hell to be a musician. And I fought against being a healer. I put up a good fight, but I lost. Here I am standing in front of you now, talking about biochemistry. Now, in order for us to heal the body, I learned that you have to cleanse the body. And you have to feed the body those minerals that are made up, that makes up the body. That's all. Cleanse the body and feed the body the minerals that is made up of. Calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, and all the others. And then you'll find that a miracle happened. That's what they tell us, a miracle. Like Mildred Jones. Mildred Jones came to see us just 2 months ago, and she was in a breathing machine for 8 years with a long plastic cord. And she sat down at 12:30, I remember, because Artie was visiting me and said, ha 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 ha, heal that. I said, sit down and be quiet. And I asked the lady, I said, do you swallow? She said, yes, I could swallow. So I gave her a big glass just like this. And many of you here knows what I'm talking about. The product since Mildred Jones has been titled and named the Mostest. You know, like a little boy said the most? But it's so So good. He said, it's the mostest. Well, that's what my son called it, the mostest. So I named it the mostest. So I gave this lady some of the mostest. At 12:30. At 12:35, she relaxed. At 12:45, she took the oxygen out of her nose. At 1 o'clock, she was snoring. Am I a voodoo man? Am I a scientist? No. I just took some herbs that came from the same environment that the black man came from. The tropics. Remember, our electrical energy is higher than anyone else on the planet because it's different. That's why we have so much carbon. You see, to make electricity, and let me say this, it's very simple. I don't want y'all to think that these things are so impossible because I, who didn't go to school, could see them and work with them as a steam engineer on the ships. I saw these things. To create electricity, all you need is what? Carbon and copper. A copper wheel spinning and carbon rubbing against it, and it creates a resonance that produces electricity. That's all it is. The more copper or the more carbon, the higher the amount of electricity. And look at us. We're nothing but that. So when we use herbs from the temperate region, such as burdock, it does not get enough sunlight. It doesn't have enough energy. So we go to the tropics and get the herbs that are grown in the tropics. That grow in the tropics. And you find that, voila, Mildred Jones was sleeping at 1 o'clock. Miss Yasin Nader from Philadelphia called us Sunday before last because her son is in a coma with epilepsy and he had a tube in his stomach. A coma for 2 years. Gave him the stuff, but when I walked in the door, I saw death. I said, oh no, this boy's dead. But the voice inside said, shut up! I look at my daughter, I said, Wiwa, you think there's life in this boy? She said, mm-mm. But the boy said, shut up, and gave the stuff to the woman. Then the woman came out of the room and said, do you think he's going to live? I lied. I said, yes, he's going to live. That was not what I was feeling. And she put the stuff in the bag, and the stuff went straight into his stomach. She called 2 days later, he's up and talking. Now we come to AIDS. I didn't know I could cure AIDS. How would I know that? I don't diagnose anyone. I don't have laboratories to break down germs, bacteria, or virus. I don't do that. I just happen to be in Washington giving these people compounds that were curing all leukemia, sickle cell, which is Achilles Stroud, and a young lady said, Zelma Peterson called me and said, Dr. Sebi, I know you have cured many diseases that I could have helped. This is why I wrote an article about you in the Financial Independence magazine. But I learned that my brother-in-law brother has AIDS. But he's at pneumocystis stage. You think it's too late? I said, don't do that. I said, fly to New York and go see Annette. Annette is in the building now with that pink dress, that flower dress over there that you always see. Annette, come forward, please. This is Annette. Annette also cures AIDS and any other disease. See, I'm just talking because they're scared to talk to you. You see, I'm a little bit bolder than them, but they know more than I do. So Annette gave her the compound. She goes to Boston that Saturday, gave the boy the stuff. That Sunday, pneumocystis was gone. 2 months later, the doctor said he didn't have AIDS, that he was misdiagnosed. But what did we do for him? We cleansed the mucus from his lungs. We cleansed the mucus from his bronchial tubes. Every disease, you could attest to that. Every time you're sick, you have a lot of mucus coming out of you. Sure, because you ate something that brought the mucus. You ate something that we were programmed to eat in the 400 years away from our mama. That's all disease is. It's not time to criticize the Usha Institute as WLIB. Well, when they go out there and ask them to see if I could talk on the radio program, they said, have they released him yet? It will be a cold day in hell when I lecture on WLIB again. Never again. You see, because that was insulting their mother. And I have very little to do with people that does those kinds of things, conscious or unconsciously. So here, this man is cured of AIDS. So again, we go back. we gave him substance to cleanse. That is potassium chloride. Potassium chloride dibasic, meaning made by nature. Not mono. Mono is made by man. Anybody here who's a chemist will know that. Am I right? Yes. Sure I'm right. So we go to the plants and find the chemicals that would cleanse away the mucus as fast as possible, as quick as possible. And then we find other herb that has phosphates to build the system, to give you energy while you undergo this disease state. And then the cells grow back, whether in the liver, whether in the lungs, whether anywhere in the body. So that's all we do, is to cleanse the system and to allow the system to be rebuilt. But in the allopathic philosophy, which is the European medicine, it is to do what? Make pills out of inorganic substance and give you, but the cause of disease is still in you. So you see, isn't that difficult? But it is difficult for them. And now it makes it even more difficult because the whole society, the whole American government depends on those chemical laboratories for huge amount of money. And a black people is going to come and invent medicine from herbs, deprive them of all those billions. Now you know it takes more than a nerve to stand up against a crime and take such a position. But it is necessary. Because my life was at stake. Remember, I was impotent. I was diabetic. I was asthmatic. I was hypertensive. And I was obese. I went to all the doctors. Now what happened? He was a book reader. That's what happened. He read books. See, life doesn't come out of a book. A book is a violation of life. Just to create a book, you have to cut trees down. There's a violation. All right. We don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be afraid. If Sebi, who was arrested a day before I was supposed to testify in the courts of the United States, downtown Brooklyn, Supreme Court, the Attorney General sent a message to me and said, if I take a misdemeanor, that he would drop all charges. What was he saying to you? Not to me, but to you. He didn't give a damn about you. If I had done that, you wouldn't hear my mouth today. I said, no, this is fisticuff, win or lose. Because my people are at stake, my race, myself, my being, my family. And I'm supposed to take that is like me going to a Caucasian and ask them to stop being Caucasian. That's an imposition. Or to have the Caucasian race to implement in their world things that belongs to our world. That's an imposition. That's a violation. Give respect. We learn to be obedient. A zebra does not ask a horada, how come you don't have stripes? Nature made him with stripes. It did not make a horada with stripes. But they're both equitable. See, we have to begin to understand what it is to be different. Not better, not worse, not superior, not inferior, because you're not inferior to anyone. We just happen to play a unique role, a role that I will explain right now. A bird or plant, you go to get what mineral? You see? Iron. Sure. Meaning that the predominant mineral is iron. But then we go to the dandelion. Or just take the shade grass. Shade grass. What you go to that for? Calcium. It's coded to ingest calcium. So the black race is coded the same way like the plants. Look at the eagle. It eats meat, not the quetzal. It doesn't eat meat. It eats seed because it's coded. The flower of the burdock is what? Red, purple, and white. But that of the dandelion is what? You see? But which one is better? They both serve their purpose. So what is this thing about? I have to measure up to a white man. Man, I've got to measure up to nature. Right. I'm better. Because right now, we happen to have the ingredients that would maintain harmony and peace on the planet. The black race. Why? Because we hear that the Japanese have the best cars, right? They make the best cars and the best cameras. Well, what do we make?
All right.
We make the best medicine in the world. The black race again. You see? When we thought that we had nothing to offer, we have the best medicine. We cure AIDS. So who does the world have to depend on now to cure the diseases? The black race. But if you sit in a chair and separate me from you and say that man over there say the cure AIDS, then you know what you just did? Condemn yourself. You have just condemned yourself because I'm you. But look what it would do if we all were to come together and say, well, hold it there now. Since these people at Usha is curing AIDS, isn't it our duty? Isn't it our duty to support that entity? Not me. You're not supporting me. Because hey, I have a piece of land in Honduras that many of you have seen. All I have to do is go sit down on it and drink the water and plant my stuff and sit there. You can't hurt me. But if you negate this entity today and walk up with criticisms, just remember that the criticism is not on us, it's on you. Because there are many people in this. I'm going to show you something. Annette told me one day of a lady here in Harlem that was very sick. And I went to see her somewhere in Harlem. She's in a bed, can't get up. I gave her the compounds. It took me $25 in the cab to get there, $25 back, or $20 back, which was 40. And my compound, she said to me, how much I owe you? I said, you owe me $250. She said, well, I'm on a fixed income. All I have is $5. I said, I know you're right, but I don't want your $5 because you need that $5 more than me. But how many of these ladies are in Harlem?
All right.
Are we going to render them useless like the Caucasian has done? All they need is life again, you know. And they need our service. Because the cheese and the chemicals are not going to help those people. Right. They are our responsibility. Those of us that are healthy, they are our responsibility. You understand? Because when we get old, we're going to need you too. Right. We're going to need each other's. So how do we rectify this? So I didn't come here to talk about AIDS, because you see how quick we talk about it? You see how quick we talk about it? How do you cure AIDS? So big deal. You see what I'm talking about? It took 2 minutes for as they call us niggas. 2 minutes. But NYU have libraries bigger than the building that I occupy and cure AIDS out of. Books on medicine that would, look, if you would fill this room. And it's still doing research, but in 2 minutes here, we, the son of those African people. African people. I hate to call them that, because I don't know if they were that, but our parents from that continent, that they call Africa. Right. We are their children. So if with 400 years of eating meat, and eating cheese, and eating salt, we are able to cure AIDS after 400 years of violation? I mean, look, we have got to be some kind of monsters, isn't it? So we are doing that, the black race. So we have to get back on the business of taking care of ourselves the way we always had. We always did. Nobody could take care of us better than we can. Who could do that? Why would we even put that responsibility on someone else? Why would we even entertain that? I mean, that's a violation. Look at what you're doing. Look at what you are doing. Expecting the Caucasian to help you in your health state? Like these ladies I'm talking about in Harlem who are sick, who need our help and don't have any money? So how do we rectify that? How do we do that? It's only me and my wife, Annette and Lori and a few others, Marjorie and Judy and a few more. just few people have taken on the whole weight of this thing. We made efforts, you know. We made efforts to come to you. But those of us who are representing the white entity deprive you of hearing what I have to say. Like, for instance, I was in Harlem, and it was Dr. Prince and Dr. Justice. And they were talking about something that really didn't make sense. They was talking how they were going to make it easier for the AIDS patient to die. You know what I did? I just couldn't take that, because that's when my arrogance comes out. I came up and I said, ladies and gentlemen, let's stop it. I cure AIDS. Everybody did this. And yes, and so and so and so and so. I said, oh no. Is this really serious? Are they really serious? I just told these brothers and this sister that I cure AIDS. And they write off like nothing was said. After the case was won in the Supreme Court, Dr. Justice called. Dr. Prince, she called. How I was supposed to feel after what she did. You mean to tell me that the white man had to legitimize what is our ancestors for you to accept it? It's really that? I mean, wait, hold it now. If it's really that, then I'm in trouble. At least I'm yawning. How many are yawning with me? I'm just yawning. I'm not awake yet. Because there's a lot of things I need to do. And there's a lot of things I don't know. But at least the little that we at the Usha family have developed and still developing has complemented a few blind folks who were seeing leukemia, sickle cell who doesn't have it anymore, lupus. Doesn't that deserve your support? So today it's not about how we cure AIDS, because black folks always knew that. I met some of you in Louisiana and in Memphis, Tennessee, that know a million things more than I know, but they're just scared. You know, fear? Fear stopped you at the door. You would not open that door. You see? And we found at the Usha Institute, the brothers of us who are part of members of it, found that the sisters are the one that really are the one with the tenacity. The sisters, the woman. Well, that's understood. I am the only male that is in the operation of this institute. I am the only male. They make the stuff. They direct the institute. And since I'm talking, and I'm sick of talking, because after you talk, and you talk about talking, then what? You know, I never liked, no, I'm going to tell you the truth, and this is the God in heaven truth. I was never gravitated towards men like the war. Never. I would never deal with that. But men like George Washington Carver, yeah, that's the aspect. He was doing something. He wasn't talking about talking. Men like Booker T. Washington, men like Garvey, that's who I respect. They were doing something. About the other talkers and book readers, I mean, we had enough of that, right? I mean, I've been there for 35 years, and we have read all the books there is to read. But we still, after we read the book, we put the book on the shelf. But now we have some work to do. And the work that needs to be done is not in those books. Not one of them. They cheated us, they talk. I know I didn't spend my money. Because like I said, I didn't go to school and I don't read books. See, it costs too much money to occupy myself and my time with this stuff that didn't make sense. I have to do something. We have to do something. We have to heal ourselves. You don't get that in a book. Because if the healing that I'm doing was in a book, or the healing that the Usha Institute have arrived at now was in a book, wouldn't you have the book too? Wouldn't you have the book? I mean, if it was in a book, I'd have to say, but go buy such and such a book. So it came out of what? A history, a people, a gene, not a book. Not a book. It came out of you. Our mom. You understand? Our mom, our mother. And we're going to give that respect. So we hope that when you leave from here this evening, you would make it very simple to everyone else. What did Dr. Sebi talk about? He said that disease is removing mucus from the system. But that's all he said, yeah? All he said. Now, you see, now we've down to basic, isn't it? And after we heal ourselves, all those things that we want to claim we are, that we want to exchange with one another, such as, I'm spiritual, holier than thou, but drinking carrot juice and eating pork chops. Or eating tofu. Tofu is worse than pork. Tofu is 100 times worse than pork. It's going to tear your membranes down immediately. Woman get vaginal discharge immediately. If you don't believe me, go eat some. Go eat it. You see? We need you. We need you. And you need us. Like, you know how we felt when the African government of Uganda came and sit with us? I mean, that was like, wow. That is where you really feel your usefulness, isn't it? That you're useful to your family. You're not in the position of healing because it is something that you want to relish on. Because most people tell me that some people envy me. Well, I wish that I could find someone that I envy. In fact, I do envy a man. He's in St. Croix. He does know how to read and write, and he's very healthy. I wish that I didn't know how to read and write because it said that I was less impregnated, isn't it? I was less molested. This man does not know how to read and write. And he don't even, when he receives a letter, he gives it to someone. You want to read that for me? Tell me what it says. And he's not embarrassed. He's using you to read this garbage. Whatever this garbage, it has to be read. So today, the lecture was not really on AIDS, wasn't it? It was showing where we are as a people. Whether we're Muslims, whether we're Christian, whether we're Buddhists, whether we're Shinto, we're brothers and sisters, came from the same king of Africa, isn't it? Right. So we have to go back, and now we have the greatest gift. Remember what the prophecy said? That Joseph was taken to Egypt as a slave, and then he became the king? Well, I don't know if we want to be kings, isn't it? Because what does a king do anyway? Sit on a throne. I often wonder, when did it become necessary in the African chronology that we were supposed to be kings? You know, we hear people say, oh, well, we were kings and queens. But just a minute, just stop it. Here is a bunch of people made by nature, naked in the forest. As he said, naked, not natural, but without no clothes. His balls are hanging, and he's a king. Now, what is it that this king is going to do for us that we could not do for ourselves? So what in the devil are we talking about? The word king, that's not even black. That came out of Europe, isn't it? Ah, but we go around saying that we were kings and queens. What does a king do? I mean, I never thought it. I mean, where it was useful? A king. At least as a healer, if we all become healers in here today, then we could all march back to Africa and say, just go heal mother. And get out of it. I recently was talked to by two sisters about a king from Ashanti that came. And they said that they wanted me to come and see the king. I said, you want me to leave my office to go see this king? The man is bloated up. He's sick. I could look and tell his eyes were very puffy. He had diabetes. He was loaded with fluid. I said, that man, the only way he would be healed by me is he crawled up these steps. You see, kings. I left from Brooklyn to see the lady in the bed. But she was no queen. She was just like me, the underdog. Kings, they crawl because they have not had any usefulness, not to you. Or you could just talk about them. Say we have a stool, a golden stool, and he sits on it. A king now. Hey, king. Hey, he's the king. Sebi is the king. Now, Sebi, what are you going to do? But I just have to sit on the throne and be a king. That's all I have to do, be a king. But what's the king? Where is the usefulness of a king? Does he provide you with food and shelter? No. He just still and strong. He's a king. How did he get that? How we ask those questions? Just begin to ask those questions. Ask our anthropologists and go back and ask the historians. How come they didn't talk about the food that we were supposed to be eating? How come he talk about what they were doing? How does he know that? Black people in Africa wasn't doing anything but waking up and going to sleep. Because that's all was needed to be done. Wake up and go to sleep. Our body wasn't made to work. I mean, many of you with your PhD degrees in your pocket would like to be in a situation where you only wake up, feed yourself, and eat fresh fruit from a tree, and go back to sleep. That's a dream. That's a dream. With your PhD, you crawl out with your Mercedes-Benz and go be in that fluorescent light. And you're going to drink out of the plastic bottle. And you're going to be suited down where your neck is bleeding only your face. And this is supposed to be what? An advancement from that position? But look at the state of our bodies now. We all are sick and bodies. We do not have even the capacity to love. That only comes with health. When we are healthy, now we could embrace. Right? So we're going to heal each other now. Today was about healing, not with herbs alone, because healing is encompassing everything about the individual. I mean, we need love. We need all the love that we could muster up. I know how nice it is because I make myself available for it. Because it's nice. It's nice to be loved. Well, if it is nice to be loved, how do you think the other person feels? Why not give him that? It makes you feel good. Maybe one day when you give him a little bit now, he may come back and return that to you tomorrow. But again, to be in the state of wanting to love or having the capacity to love, we have to be healthy. So, to begin with, as black people, we have to abstain from the food that we have been conditioned to eat. Stop as much of it right now. I was the recipient of some that you were not. I ate cassava, some that the African people eat. Your American brothers and sisters who were born here don't know what cassava is. No, you don't know. It has arsenic. It's very starchy. It would affect your brain immediately. When I was a child, 15, I had very violent headaches. It meant that a tumor was growing in my head. And when I began to cleanse, I felt the same headache telling me it was leaving. All of us have that tumor. Every black person in this room has that tumor, if you have not cleansed. Don't even be scared. Because the truth, you have a tumor in your brain, and they were quite aware of it. This is what prevented us from coming together. This is what prevented us from supporting Usha. I mean, Usha did not come to do something that was needed. Usha is curing AIDS, diabetes, and lupus, and blindness, and all the other diseases. Isn't that what we need? Yeah. Isn't that what we need to see our grandmothers healthy and strong again? Yeah. So what prevents the community from embracing and helping Usha? What? That tumor. Yeah. That tumor. That tumor. Where Annette and I went to New Orleans, and these white people treat us with royalty. Like royalty, I mean. They recognized what we had because she saw him in the Tony Brown Journal. But in New York, I used to get stones thrown at me. But I understood. Not because the Caucasian people give me that particular privilege and that kind of environment. I am still the son of Africa. And they come first. But I have to wait a little bit longer because, like I said, if 10 men go to sleep, and one wakes up at 5 in the morning, and the others are still sleeping, the best he could do is wait for those to wake up. Because if he tries to go and wake this one up over here, what's wrong with you? I'm still asleep, can't you see? So we cannot curse him because he's asleep. So we just have to unite all of us that are yawning, come together and begin the process of helping those that are still asleep. That is our duty. Those of us that are waking up begin to do things that would complement those that are still asleep. But instead we curse him. We call him dead. We call him asleep. Yes, he's asleep. But what are you doing in your awake state? Nothing. So let us do something now. Let us come together and further this healing process, because it is grossly needed all over the world, not only in the black race, but in the whole human race. Healing is necessary. And we have that responsibility, because we know that they don't know what they're doing. You know how old medicine been here? How long? It's been here for 253 years. They're not curing AIDS or sickle cell or diabetes. No, they're not. So what are they saying to us? That they just can't do it. So now that your brothers and your sisters, that Usha is doing it, is it time for criticism? No, you can criticize us, I said. But what help would that be? We'd be of no help. We have proven to the courts, we have proven to you in the community, all of you who have sent people to the Usha family, they all said what? They did good. That's right. That they did good. And they will do good. The Uganda government came and took some compounds and took it to a lady that had AIDS, and they came back and said, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. Dr. Sebi, she's up and she was out. She was waiting to die. And she's up and she's talking the telephone and she's doing everything. She's going to the bathroom by herself and she's doing that. Now, I didn't feel like it was a miracle, right? Because I just showed you how it was done. So I didn't feel like I deserved that, that kind of a, Dr. Sebi. And I don't like that. I never liked that position in which you give me that kind of reverence, because I don't deserve that. Because I'm not doing something that you can't do and do it better. It's just that it has been removed from us so long that when it happens, then you want to give that person all kind of credit, and then you throw them off the rhythm. Because now that person, if careless, becomes what? Swell-headed. Well, this is what happened. The reason why it is difficult for me to become swell-headed, because see, I like to walk bare feet, and I like to go in the river and bathe. I like to laugh. I like to scream. See, I like those things. Those things makes me happy. And I told the family of Usha at the ending of this year, I would divorce myself totally from being in front of you talking, because I don't like this. It's an imposition on you. It is. It's really an imposition on you for your brother to come and talk to you. Then what is saying about you? Where's your head? That your brother knows about you when he's you. No, it's an imposition. So let us all rise together. Not the Usha family alone. No. So don't come here waiting for a big surprise. Oh, we're going to hear how AIDS is cured from a biochemical or chemical perspective. No. It's all garbage. The judge said to me when I was talking about how we cure AIDS at Usha, she said, Dr. Sebi, you make it sound so simple. I said, but man, everything is simple. Everything is simple. Those things that are of consequence, they are very simple. They're very easy. So see, I never heard this before. I say, I know that. Because the African people has not stepped in to world society and represent themselves as far as pathology and nutrition is concerned. But now, here it is. The African biomineral balance is in the archives of the Court of the United States. So in ending our little lecture, I want to say to you that I more than appreciate all these faces I see here. I more than appreciate that, because the time has come in which we must come together, at least in healing. And remember that in healing, the one thing you will always remember is that love comes out of you for everyone. For everyone. Like we still hear racism, white hate blacks, black hate white. That's fine. We have our journey. Our journey was always one to give love. I don't know if we're going to be as careless now to allow the foreigners to tell us what to do and allow them to infiltrate in whatever way and destroy our little thing, but it is about loving everybody, including your enemy. Sure, it is true. Because in loving your enemy, you feel no pain. When you hate your enemy, only one person feels pain. Thank you very much. At the ending of every talk, there's always the better part of the lecture. The question and answer. Please, don't reserve your question. Feel free to ask whatever question you want to ask, because this evening it is family, isn't it? And aren't we supposed to hash out those things that need to be hashed this evening? Are we going to leave from here with the same empty-headedness that we left in other lectures? No, we're going to do something now. We may even devise a way in which we could see how we could collect $1, just $1. I'm going to show you all something very simple. $1. Suppose all of us in America gave $1 to the Usha family. You know how many dollars that is? That's about $40 million, isn't it? I mean, behave yourself. $40 million? It may be even more than that, isn't it? So let us say $40 million. Just say $75 million, $60 million. Just say $50 million. And we use $5 million to buy a building, or 2 or 3 of them in various big cities. That's only $20 million. And the other $20 million we invest in entities that would provide the herbs that we could heal everybody in our community. Yes, sir. You see, just how much did it cost each brother? $1. Just $1. I mean, I wish I was Reverend Ike on you one day alone. I wish I could be like the Pope, just one day, to take your money. But when I like to take your money and give it back to you in a very nice way, to see the smile on your face, see what we did with your money? Because you would be administering that money. But we want to use just $1. We'll serve our problem. I mean, we could do it in a big way. Just $1 throughout the United States. So let us see how we could create a network throughout the United States. I just came back from Detroit, and it was a very sad story for me. I mean, I was in the middle of the NAACP annual convention. I took the brochure and I showed a delegate. Very interesting. Yeah, okay. I got in touch with you. You know what he read? Where Miss Emma Wright had sickle cell and no longer had it. And that's all he said. Then I stopped another one. He said, look, man, don't stop me that nonsense. If you were your age, damn it, you wouldn't be here talking to me. I said, thank you. Thank you very much. I stopped another one. I didn't stop. I stopped about 10 that day. I just want to hear it from their mouth. And everyone rejected me beautifully. The NAACP, the organization that championed itself for bringing the benefit of who? Black people. First question over there, lady. Yes, ma'am.
I have a heart problem, and I have to carry Dr. Sebi with me all the time. And also, I have low sugar. Can that be cured?
Most definitely. We have done it many times. Next question. Yes, sir.
Is it possible for me to join with you fully in this business?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a young lady here named Lori, who is the president. She's right behind you, see? That lady right there.
This lady?
Yes.
Good.
She handles everything. Yes, ma'am.
My sister has bone cancer. Can that be cured?
Well, ma'am, if AIDS is being cured, I feel that would be easier. Now, in dealing with myeloma, what part of the body are we dealing with? Bones. And in dealing with bones, what is the mineral?
Calcium.
So are we going to use the oxide calcium or the phosphate calcium from the plants? You see how smart we are? We already became doctors in 5 seconds. Yes, yes, then I'm coming to you. Oh, yes.
I'd like you to explain or tell us what you are.
I used to like to do that, attempt to do that. on into a lengthy thing. The best way you could get that information is to call the Usha Institute or come down there and they would assist you, greatly assist you, in giving you a list of things and explaining. In fact, we would like that if it is possible, among you and the family of Usha to get together, and then we would have a gathering in which we could show how to cook this food quick, very easy, nutritious, and it would not hurt you. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes.
You see? Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Sebi, is fasting a part of the cleansing system?
Fasting is something that you would do gradually over a period of time. You would learn to fast. You would adjust yourself to fast. I'm doing it now. I have used all kinds of methods. One, I remember the first time I fasted, I went on it for 94 days non-stop. Didn't eat anything. You know, it was 20 years later that I did that. I didn't even do that. 20 years later, I fasted for 28 days only. So I learned that in fasting, you have to learn to fast because the stomach has to readjust. If you fast suddenly and your stomach shrinks, the conditioning of your head will say, I gotta fill this thing back up because it's still empty. But if you fast one day and eat another, fast one day and eat another, and take that for about 7 days, and then next month, you say, well, I'm going to fast for 2 days, I need 2 days. And then you go gradually. And then your stomach have a chance to be shrinking on you slowly. And once it's shrunk, then the desire for food becomes minimal. I just talked to Mr. Lee. I was in trouble in Detroit this trip because month before last, I was in Detroit, where Martha Jean the Queen, how many of you know of that woman? Martha Jean the Queen, do you know of her? She's a woman that is in Detroit that takes me there every month to see hundreds of people. And this one man impressed me very much, Mr. Lee. Oh, Mr. Lee is 87. Mr. Lee is about 6 feet tall and he's slim. And he dresses, he's sharp and he's clean. And this man, oh God, this man just impressed me. I look at this man when he comes to see me. He said, good evening, young man. You Dr. Sebi? I said, yes, sir. Well, I'm Mr. Lee. But Mr. Lee is a tough man. So Mr. Lee is 87. And he doesn't wear glasses, and he can read and write very nice. Mr. Lee said to me, well, young man, you know, I have a woman, but I want another one. So I want you to help me with these compounds and units because I want another woman. You see, this other woman is very nice, and I don't want to deprive her. She's very nice, and I want to, you know, be with her, but I have this one here that I love very much, but are you going to help me or not? I said, I'll help you. So when I went back to see this time, I went back to Detroit. There was Mr. Lee. But I couldn't help it. Mr. Lee was in a group of people. I said, Mr. Lee! He said, you remember me, right? I said, Mr. Lee's sister was angry with me because I gave him all of my attention and didn't give her any. But Mr. Lee is a very impressionable man. He is very strong. Our sister came and said to Mr. Lee, are you married? Mr. Lee said, yes, I'm married. Not very much so. This man is, you know, so that was the trouble. God, his sister jumped all over me and crazy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I'm going to say is based on observation I have recently, just like the European had their several their meeting, the richest nation, and not one African is included in that group.
I noticed it.
Yeah, so what I want you to do is address the answer to some of us who might don't understand what's going on, because like here we try to get together and then some of us bring somebody else who don't like us to get into what we are dealing with.
But there is no reason why a Japanese or a white man shouldn't be here. There should be a reason, but in us constructing, no, we can't construct with their philosophy or their presence, no. Because we have to separate ourselves. Everything was made separate. Everything is different, you know. You see, they tell us that we're one, right? But is that true? No. You see? I mean, damn, if you put me next to a Norwegian, man, you know there's a distinct difference. Man, what was this? That we are one. We're just different. Not that the Norwegian is less than me. many times, and I have been to Russia. I've been all over Europe. But I never find it necessary to relinquish and to compromise my blackness, but I never found it necessary to offend them either. Because I don't want to be offended. So, as hipping us to come together, you know, we've been doing that for 35 years since I've been here coming together. Coming together around what? There have been no coming together in America in 35 years around an entity that's going to protect us, that's going to feed us and compliment us. He was always around philosophy. But I don't get around that. That's why I don't have friends that entertain that junk. Next question. Right here. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Sebi.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know how long the cleaning process takes. I have asthma.
When I was an asthmatic for 28, 29 years, Miss Mildred Jones that just spoke about, Miss Mildred Jones, she had a machine. She was worse than you. And in a half an hour or 15 minutes, she took the machine out her nose. But I want to say this. That have to be very, very carefully understood. I had 2 people that died after they came to see me at the Usha family last year, or this year. Young woman too with asthma. She came and she took the compound and she was feeling very good, but she didn't come back because asthmatic people does that. I did it too. Once that wheezing stops and that breathing becomes good, we don't want to take the substance anymore. No. The mucus is in the head. Like I said, every one of us have a tumor. And it breaks down. And you find that you're swallowing. Many of you felt that you're swallowing mucus sometimes, draining down your ear. You know? It's coming down from this big head. You know, the cheese and the cow. This lady, this young sister, told me that she was only eating the food that I recommended. And in the selection of these foods, broccoli was one. As a steam engineer, I learned to understand chemicals. I'm a steam engineer. I learned that not by going to school for it because you heard me say I didn't go to school. I learned it on the ship. I was a wiper, which is a janitor. I wiped myself to a fireman and water tender, to a junior engineer, to an engineer, on-the-job training. So while on the ship, it was my duty, at one point in my journey as an engineer, to scavenge the oxygen out of the boilers. That's the first thing a steam engineer has to learn to do. To put sulfite in the feed water, that it would go in the tubes of the boiler and scavenge out all the oxygen. If there's any degree of oxygen over and above, just, I would say, oxygen in contents would be like only 1/10 of 1% of the water. Because oxygen would cause pitting in the tubes, erosion. So you put sulfite in the water, and it removes oxygen from that water. And now you would never have to suffer pitting in the tubes. But when I would open that barrel, I had to open the barrel and stand away. If I stand over that barrel when I open it, that's how fast it would react. So what are they spraying the vegetables with now to make it look young? I mean fresh? And this lady has asthma, and she comes to me. She begins to feel good. But I recommend that she eat only green things, and she chooses the broccoli. And when she eats the broccoli, now she called me about 1 hour before that. This happened to me. It's dangerous out there. It's very dangerous. You see, with that $1, we could go back to North Carolina and tell the brothers to have all this land that isn't growing anything, look fellas. We want you to grow organically grown food for us. Without the sulfite and insecticide and the pesticide, because she's in trouble. This is in trouble. We're not taking care of business. We've been talking. We've been talking. Because those who came to us was talking about Egypt, talking about what took place in Songhay. What the hell are you going to do with that now? Out. Okay, you think you're bad? Do something with that. Nothing. You walk out ahead and go do something what the Egyptians were doing back 5,000, 6,000 years ago. Go do that. I want to see how good it's going to be. But if we do what we just recommended, each of us give $1 and we start, go back in the soil and grow in the foods for these children, because they're us. And if our health is being compromised now, worse for them. Whereas Brother Sonny Carson is seeking right now to change the food in the schools. Now, doesn't that sound good? Isn't that a worthy cause? Instead of marching in the streets about what? Yes, sir.
Just people coming to you have identified illnesses like asthma or AIDS or whatever. What can we do here? Say, I don't know what I may have yet, all right? But what can we do here today to start the process?
Well, when this man, Martin, came to see me, Martin didn't have no disease. Martin is right here. This big head man in front of you, the man is raising his hand. Martin didn't have any disease, but Martin wanted to feel good. Want to feel, got energy back. Well, all you have to do is come and we send you the packages and you would revitalize again, be revitalized again. Yes, sir.
I want to ask you about the cow. You said that's a hybrid animal?
The cow is a hybrid animal, true hybridization. Between one and one. A cross between a yak and a buffalo. It's not natural. So I don't know when the Bible talks about Abraham that was killing and dressed the calf. I don't know what they were talking about because this cow is new. You see, how do you know what is natural? I'm going to show you guys a very beautiful scale. I wish I had a blackboard that this thing could go off into something very nice. But we're going to use this line. This line here. This line as the center. This line as the center would be number 7 for neutral in pH. Anybody know pH is? The pH of 7 is what? Neutral. The 0. Anything to our right, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is alkaline. Anything to our left from 7 to 1 is acid. 7 is neutral. Where's the line? Right here. Okay, now we're going to use that. Because we're wise. We don't need no blackboard. Our brain could penetrate, right? Okay, we remember that 7 to our right to 14 is alkaline. 7 down to 1 is acid. If a substance is acid, it's always below 7. Below 7. As a steam engineer, I knew that. 6.9 is always acid. But it's only 1 point acid, right? And as it goes to 1, it becomes more acid and more acid and more acid. And depending on the degree of acidity will determine what scale will be on, right? So we find that cyanide and arsenides, they are like 2. 1.5 grain of arsenide would kill you right now, isn't it? But if the substance is on above 7, is it good for you? Yes. Now, when you milk a cow, this is a hydrogen ion concentration test, they call it. Hydrogen ion. To break it down, pH, depending on its structure, is acid state. If the substance is alkali, if you milk a cow, the cow is 5.2 on the hydrogen scale, which means it would erode your cells, and that milk you're giving your baby, that bottle, is killing your baby with fever and nose running. Right. But if you milk a goat, the milk is 9.8, which is what? Alkaline, which means that God made it. God doesn't make anything that hurts you, right? I mean, if he made something to hurt you, he wouldn't be God. If you make a tiger, the milk is alkaline. Overhead. If you make a lion, the milk is alkaline. If you make a woman, it's alkaline. But if you make a cow, That's how you know. You could take a carrot and juice it and give it the litmus test. It's way over here on the acid side. But they have people claim it is. Well, a man is in the door right now named Lorenzo Pace. Lorenzo Pace came to see me when I was on Monroe Street. And he said, hey, look, man, I want to drink juice. And I got all this mucus. I'm a vegetarian. What's going on here, Sebi? I said, Lorenzo, what kind of juice you drinking? He said, carrots, baby, carrots. Because the poor man was told by these nutritionists in Harlem that he should drink carrot juice. Mucus was coming out of Lorenzo like he never said. I said, stop it. There he is now, without the mucus. Then go back and drink carrot juice. Yes, sir.
What's the pH of blood?
The pH of blood depends on the state of your body. But the pH of blood should always be no less than 10. That's right. Because the cells can't do nothing with something acid just by the word acid. Acid means what? To eat away on you. What you want that for? Yes, ma'am. Yes, the sister.
I'm doing calamine and sour. Is that good for you? Bad?
Psyllium husk. And what else you said? That's coming out of a volcano. They both are very harmful. Don't even deal that. Remember, to heal the body, maybe this is the way I should, this lecture just begin to get good, right? To heal the body, we want to give it things that it is already composed of. And the body, definitely, is an alkali state. The body itself is alkali. And it is composed of what? Carbon base. Psyllium seed. Psyllium seed is acid, isn't it? It was made. You see? Anything that was made in the laboratory must necessarily be acid. Because men cannot titrate. Titration, that's the word. He cannot, in other words, may I have that umbrella? Nature, since creation, made things the way they should be. Men come and found them that way. We found them already made for us to indulge in, right? But what man does, you say, well, I can see if I take a soursop and a coconut and put them together, I'm going to get cool sop. Right? But to bring these two things together that was not originally put together by nature, you have to use a binder. That's the trick. For them to come together and unite, because they were not supposed to unite. But men take and use a binder, which is a chemical, and put them together. That's a violation. The other is that it is half coconut and half soursop. Is there anything in nature that's half anything?
No.
Thank you. I think that's a beautiful description, isn't it?
Yes.
Shall we use that one? You are a scientist. Yes, sir. Then you, man.
Dr. Sebi.
Yes, sir.
Detoxify body. Cleanse it. 1 day, 1 year, 2 years.
Well, this lady, I did not compete answering her question. I'm glad that you asked the question. It depends. It depends on the state of toxicity. It depends how much weight. It depends how much fluid. It depends on the state of your body. You come back and tell me, you know, when you begin to take this stuff, you come back and say, hey, man, I'll be good. I'll be very good. Or you can come back and say, you know, I feel okay, but then I know I have some work to do. You know, it's simple. It's very easy. You know more than me. So you know.
Yes. I have abnormal tissue in the jawbone. And what it's doing is, it's affecting the nerves, the blood vessels.
Abnormal tissue in the jawbone she has. What caused that? Abnormal tissue. What causes anything to become abnormal in the body? Acid. You know it.
I'm affected. That is also bothering you too.
No, that was not also bothering you. That was what it was all the time.
Okay, all right. That's the point. Okay.
So we deacify your body, right? Let me see, Washington, D.C. What is his name? Little short man. Forgot his name. When he opened his jaw, he had to put it back in. Why? Because there was erosion in the calcium cells. Right? So what do we do? What's causing the erosion? The only thing that eats your body up is what? So what is disease? Yes, brother. Who was it? Who's next? Well, look at Saya. Saya's in town. Hi, Saya. Saya's a beautiful little girl. You always know about Saya. Yes, sir.
Please tell us, Doctor, what the problem or the benefit of soybeans, tofu, soy milk, TVP.
You know, there's a young man that I don't see here today. His name is Jay. I didn't do his research. Jay did. Jay is a member of Pusha. Jay put things in a way that I hope that you would get this paper that he wrote on tofu. Tofu, he said, the food of what, he said? No, the food of who? What did Jay said? The food of champions. He said, early in the 19th century, George Washington Carver found that soybean had a very good milk, consistent to make plastics. It was George Washington Carver that invented plastics. He made it from what? The milk of the soybean. Where you mean to tell me, and Jay said in the paper, you ought to read this paper. We will make this paper available to you next time we come together, because we will come together again, because there's so much to talk about. He said, if early in the 19th century, George Washington Carver used soybean to make plastics, why is it that automatically in the 19th century, it has become our food? How could that be? Your food from the same source as plastics? Does that make sense? No. Don't you know that to make plastics, you have to ingest, or you have to use a substance that contains silica, inorganic silica. Soybean is artificial. Soybean was made by the Jesuit priests. And I'm glad that this young man asked that question. Because look at this now. What does Ralph Nader do when a Caucasian or the Caucasian companies or some individual produce, no, he's a Caucasian too, Ralph Nader, right? What does he do when he finds something on the market that is no good? He what? He said expose. Is that what he should do? He should do that, right? But what happens to the Bahamian diet that is based with soybean? What do we do now? Now what do we do about it?
Take it for weight loss.
Now they're going to come out the woodwork, isn't it? Are we going to attack Brother Dick Gregory for that? He doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know, right? So if he didn't know, why did he bring it?
He didn't know about the plaster. So we educate.
That's right. The sister is right. We have to educate Dick because he's our brother. And we're not going to condemn Dick because the information that Dick had in his head came from who?
Okay.
It had to have come from the Caucasians. It didn't come from the brothers and the sisters in Africa because they did not eat no soybean. So we have to sit with him and say, hey Dick, you know, like, enough is enough, you know, man. Oh, you can't have this. Last question. Or at least two more. Yes.
I'd like to know if colonic irrigation is necessary.
Colonic irrigation is extremely unhealthy because it pushes water against your cecum. And at the point where, I wish I had a blackboard, I'll tell you what we do, I'll explain it now. But when we come back again, I'm going to make sure that the family of food shall have a blackboard here. I will show you. When this is your ascending colon, this is your ascending colon right here. This is your transverse colon. This is your descending colon. Things goes across very easy and down very easy. But to climb up, to crawl up is very difficult. Now I'm going to push water up here, down, across, down. Now there's no way out here. So aren't you having to impact things down here with that water 15 pounds per square inch pressure? Not only that, the obstruction is not in the colon. It's in the small intestines. Because the valve, the cecum valve, only pushes things out. It doesn't admit things in, because that would be anatoxemia. So as this valve clogs, so the small intestines, and there goes your stomach. So when you get your colonics, yeah, you see some feces out of it, but the obstruction is in the small intestines. And since this valve does not allow any water to go in, how are we going to clean the small intestines now? Where the putrefaction really sits. And not only that, when you take water and put it in a machine and then push that up someone's colon, isn't there life forms in this water already? And they will seed inside of you? Because if you had taken this water through your mouth and it had the life form, which it does, it would die in the mucous membrane or in the hydrochloric acid in the stomach. But now you bypass that because some German invented colonics. And some black person told us that because the Germans did it, it must be right. Ooh.
That's what I think.
Ooh. Yes, ma'am. Pantothenic acid. Will it be below or above 7, fellas? She said it right. Pantothenic what? Yes, ma'am.
If the elements that we require in food are tropical foods, is that to say that our diet should be mostly tropical food? And if so, would that necessitate us living in the tropical climate? Or would that necessitate us eating a lot of imported food?
You see? You see what the sister just asked? It's the whole lecture. She asked, does it necessitate, since we are tropical, that the food would come from the tropics? Or that we would have to live in the tropical region? What happened when you put a gorilla in Alaska? And what do you think we are doing gradually? Our skin gets wrinkled fast. We're dying. And what she also said, does that mean also that we're supposed to get our food from the tropics? Well, I'll tell you what. I was a merchant seaman. I know about boats. I have a brother who owns boats in Honduras now. A boat only costs about $70,000 to come from Honduras to Miami. So with that dollar, we can we could buy 5 boats. We hold it. We could also get all kind of land in Honduras. And they were glad to have you grow stuff over there and build on your boats organically to you. Tropical fruits. Yes, sister, you're right. You asked the question of the evening. That's why we use the herbs that come from the tropics. They contain electricity, high over and above anything from the temperate region. That's why everybody feels so good with the Maya. Our compounds are electrical. Food is electrical. You are electrical. I had the opportunity to receive electricity through my pores in Honduras as a very young boy, 16 years of age. I'm walking across Honduras. And this Indian named Inez, that really knew the forest. He was my age, but he knew more about it than I did. He said, look, if we go across these mountains, it's going to cost a lot of labor going up and down, up and down, up and down. He said, look, you see this shoulder? They call it cordillera. We're going to climb up one mountain and walk across all the others from the top, across. Just one spot we had to come down, go right back up 10,000 feet. We were in the clouds. We were inside the clouds. And at one point, I was laughing and running. All 3 of us young fellas, 16 years of age, running in this cloud. Running. Walking 3 days. Sleeping only 1 day. But we had energy. And you know, it was until I became a healer that I saw why that Indian asked us to walk in the clouds. If food is electrical and light is electrical, where do you get the highest source of electricity on the planet from, naturally? From the clouds. The cloud produces more lightning on you, knock a building down. Well, if from those clouds come electricity and we are submerged in it, what do you think is happening to us? No stuff. Yes, ma'am.
So what in your body would make you reject going through vegetables?
The only thing that would allow you to reject any substance in your body would be acid. I have many people to come to me with that. Dr. Sebi, I can't even hold water down. And they were right. They could not hold water. They drink water, they puke it up. They had to. Why? A bed of acid in their stomach. Mucus. This aggravates it. Clean the mucus out, you drink tons of it, you eat anything then. Yes, sir.
Yes, two questions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, does that mean that citrus fruits and all are not beneficial to the body?
They are not as acid as starch. You see, in the acid stuff, something that was made by this man, some are more and some are less. Citrus is acid. I'm not going to sit here and deny that, because the natural orange is alkali. And I think Lori had a chance to see one in Honduras, natural orange. They call it civil orange. Any of you from the Caribbean know about civil orange? Yes, she knows, he knows. So you know, that's an orange that cures you. You could take civil orange and put it on your head, and mucus comes out of your nose that you never imagined. You see?
Not as sweet as the one you
So what I see we need to do, like the brothers are asking about things that come from the tropics that they do not know about, why don't we have an expedition ourselves? Because the Usha family goes to Honduras every year. The sister of Usha is now going to Mexico and to Chile. See, we do research to find the best herbs for you, that you could be healed quicker and faster and cheaper. So why can't we all as a family come together and make this thing a family thing? That instead of you asking those questions, you would know. You would know. Yes, sir.
Yes. When you're dealing with, someone who is obviously in ill health, what system or method of diagnosis do you use to determine the correct manner of rejuvenating this person?
Do we need to diagnose? No. Why?
We claim those names.
I never diagnosed anyone. I wouldn't even know how to do that. When you walk in my place and your ankles are swollen and you're hurting, I know it's acid. When the government of Uganda came to me and asked me to come and cure AIDS, I know what I have to do. Remove acid from the system. When the woman walked in with asthma and couldn't breathe, I know it was mucus acid. When the man came with gout, I knew it was acid. And incidentally, about gout, I always find that men, I know I didn't have gout, but I was impotent. I had diabetes. But I find that every male that has gout is impotent, because the level of acidity has also invaded the prostate gland. And here comes, this is my last one, I just can't, I have to go on. But Flores Archies from Puerto Rico came to me, and he had gout. He said, could you cure my gout? I said, sure. But then came a woman named Miss Sylvester, and she was wearing a cane. She had a cane, And then came another one named Miss Margaret Allen. She was shaking, and she touched me. She said, oh, you have a baby, Dr. Sebi. Yes, I have a baby. She was blind. Delirium tremens. She was shaking, right? And high blood pressure, cellulite. So when they were leaving, they all had the same bottles. But the Puerto Rican took it upon himself to ask me about it. And he was right. He said, Dr. Sebi, I think you're making an obvious mistake. I said, why is that? He said, because I don't have diabetes. I don't have arthritis like Miss Sylvester. I'm not blind like Miss Allen. And you give us the same medicine, I have gout. So this has got to be out. I said, from a European perspective it is. But from a black one, very much consistent. I said, but instead of me arguing with you, this is what I'm going to do. Take this stuff. If it doesn't work, I'll give you money back in 2 weeks. He left. Everybody left. When he came back 2 weeks later, he came back with shoes on. And his wife. But she was the slick one, like the wives. Usually are. Always are. The wife came and said, tell him how you feel. I said, well, I said, ma'am, Flora doesn't have to tell me how he feels because she has shoes on. She said, yes, I feel good. You're right. Tell the man the rest. He said, well, I'm having sex now. You know, it's been 4 years, but I'm having sex now. She said, okay. So, did I give him something for sex? Is there any medicine in the world that says for gout? Is there any herbs in the world that says this is for gout? So, what the herb did? As it cleansed the acid from his toe, it cleansed the acid from his prostate gland that was preventing him from having sex. Is that so difficult? Thank you very much. That's all.